Welcome back to another great episode of Comedians in Bed, where comedians could be comedians. So I don't really know what that means, but that just sounds like something you should say on a podcast. Man, I have another great guest with us here today. As always, I gotta give a great introduction, man. This guy is the king of Newark. And if you don't know what Newark I'm talking about, I'm not talking about New Jersey. We're talking about the real Newark, okay? Right here in Ohio, where there's freaking needles everywhere. Okay, but there's
Yeah.
bad women too. Not bad as in bad, but like bad as in they look good. The baddest women in Ohio are in Newark, and the king of comedy has been doing his thing. The king of entertainment. All right, he's putting Newark on the map. He's putting Newark on his back, and Newark is finally on the map. And it's because of our next guest right here that we have, Destin Richardson. Everybody, give it up for Destin Richardson.
What's going on? You did not lie, man. That was one hell of an introduction.
Only for the king.
That's yeah. I'll say I was like rose petals. Like I felt like Eddie Murphy in Coming to America with that.
Well, I mean, you really are the king, man. All things of entertainment that I know of so far,
Yeah.
I don't really keep up with Newark, but what I do
I
see,
don't
you
either.
you you do, you're doing the thing out there, man. You're at least providing some entertainment, man. You love
Yeah.
Newark. Are you born and raised in Newark?
So all right. Technically, I was born in Zanesville, which is like
Worse.
the sluttier cousin of Newark. But no, then raised in Newark. I mean, I spent a year in Pittsburgh when I was a little kid, and then a year at Bowling Green. But other than that, Newark, Newark till the day I die.
Oh my gosh, man. How is growing up in Newark? It seems now that I think about it, it actually makes sense as to why you were creative because there's nothing really there.
Exactly. Yeah, you have to make your own way out here. I mean, there's because other than that, it's like, all right, you want to hang out in the Walmart parking lot, or do you want to hang out in the Kroger parking lot? That's what there is. You want to go to the
Bing
truck
bong.
pool? Yeah, yeah. I'll say a typical weekend in Newark is burnouts doing burnouts in parking lots. So I had to not do that. I had to make something of myself. So
Yeah. What is it? I mean, I've only been to Newark like probably like three times.
yeah, and two
I
two of
mean,
them were because of me. So.
yeah, like I don't know. It's not from the outside looking in. It's not bad. It
Yeah.
definitely looked a little sketchy. Like you gotta look behind
Oh yeah.
your shoulders a little bit, but it definitely seemed like a very tight niche community. Is that what it is?
It's so Newark. It's technically, I had to look this up too. It is like the 15th most populated city in Ohio. Now, nine of those cities were all different parts of Cleveland, but um, yeah, and some Cincinnati, a little bit of Columbus, but no. So Newark, the way I describe it is, it's like it's too big to be a small town, but it's too small to be a big city. It is kind of like right in that little middle ground. Like I know a lot of people, but I don't know the whole town. They know me because I'm the king, bitch. No, no. But like it's there's some things to do. I mean, we have bowling alleys, we have mini golf, we got crack, uh, we have unprotected sex, day drinking. The
Bing bong.
classics. But yeah,
Nah, no, seriously, that seems like the only thing to do.
yeah,
But no, I love when I do come down there because I know I can come right back. But other than that, though, how is like I always wonder like a small town. Like I mean, the only small town I ever lived in was like Youngstown, right? So,
yeah,
but that's when I was in college, so people was coming from all over. Like, but
right.
like you in Newark, so like, how's the like dating scene down there? Like, if it's like once you hump one person, you didn't hump everybody. Is it that type deal? Or
I mean, yeah, I almost don't want to think about my Eskimo brothers and sisters, Eskimo cousins or whatnot. But no, the dating scene here lately, it's been kind of this has been my dating scene. Jill, Jill, you know. Um, but I do not have Phoenix energy. um, yeah, no, it kind of sucks. I mean, it's one of those. Not to sound like creepy or anything, but it's like if you want to date a girl that doesn't have a kid, you have to get them off the graduation ramp. But you got if you want them without a kid, and even then, even then you'll still have the occasional like underneath that robe. She's got one feeding on the left, but yeah, no, a lot of single moms out here, a lot of older women. Like that's the thing I always tell people is like, yeah, I love cougars. It's like because I have to love cougars, otherwise I'm not loving anybody. So,
do you ever think about leaving, or you want to stay there?
no, I am eventually going to leave the throne of Newark. Um, right now, my sights are on Chicago, but I mean, I could go New York City or maybe even Atlanta. I've had enough people tell me that Austin's kind of blown up a little too much lately. It's the prices have skyrocketed and all that, and traffic's pretty terrible in all major cities, but like Chicago and New York City, they at least have like really good like public rail systems and like good public transportation. So
Why Chicago at the number one spot?
because New York City makes me a little claustrophobic and I hate hot weather. So Chicago's the next big city that has some cold weather. I've been to Chicago a couple of times in my life, and I've loved it every single time. They have like the naval base, like kind of like north of Chicago. I had a cousin; she graduated from the Navy there. We went up there, spent a whole week. Yeah, it's a great time. Just stay to like north, west, or east of Chicago, and you're fine. Don't go south. Don't go south.
That's what's up, man. Have you? Well, you said you have. Okay, so like, do you think you'll be like afraid when you leave Newark, or you'll think you'll be like relieved?
I mean, definitely just a little bit of both. Just because, like, I am so familiar with the place, but that's what makes me excited to get familiar and learn a new place. And I learned pretty quickly. If I've ever spent like 2 or 3 days in the city, I already know like kind of like basic like part of town. I know like what highway to get on. Like I'm pretty quick at stuff like that. But I was when I was like looking into the Chicago area, like where I might want to like live, looking at like the clubs, um, any business opportunities. But I was looking at like the real estate around there, and I had it kind of like set. I kind of had like a game plan of moving to Whiting, Indiana, which is the town like right on the border of Illinois and Indiana for mostly because it's cheaper in Indiana. Taxes and cost of living is like way down from Illinois. And I am a very late person by nature. Um, I operate on Destin Standard Time because I can't say the other kind of time, but for very legal reasons. But that I was like, I know there's like a time zone difference between Indiana and Illinois. So I was like, I get done with work in Indiana. I get on the road by like 4:15, 4:30. I go over into Illinois, boom, 3:30. I would, in theory, never be late to a gig. Don't worry, I'll still find a way to be late to a gig. But I would have a worse excuse. But I also looked into it, and apparently there are like 4 or 5 counties on the west part of Indiana that operate on Illinois time zone. So that part of my plan kind of went out the window. But yeah, I mean, I looked into it. It's not going to be for another 2 or 3 years. I'm still going to hold it down in my kingdom until then.
Why? I mean, you put a lot of great shows on, and Newark. Why is that feel like something? Okay, like this is an avenue I could like. There's a hole in the market I can do this, or was it just like maybe out of boredom? Like, what made you put on these great shows that you do in Newark?
Well, yeah, it was more the idea of seeing a market that wasn't getting tapped a lot, because like in like big cities like in Columbus and Cleveland and Cincinnati, there's more people, but there's more competition for those people.
Hmm.
Whereas out in Newark, it's only a 40-minute drive, 36 if you ain't a bitch. Um, but yeah, it's only a 40-minute drive from Columbus, so it's still doable, but it's just enough to scare some people away. So like, yeah, I've there's not as big of a market, but I pretty much am like the one guy for that market. So It's been nice, but I mean, it's I've been doing shows out here for probably 2 years now, like steady ever since COVID let up.
So, like with doing those shows, like anybody else listening to this that might be in a small town, like how did you start that up? And not only how did you start that up, but how has the scene grown from when you started it up to like now?
Um, when I got the idea of like, hey, I want to like produce like legit shows. I don't want to like when we were opening up from COVID. Uh, Obviously, most of Newark was still under the belief that COVID's not real. It's from the government. It's a it's a hoax. All those
Hmm.
kind of people. And so Newark was like one of the first places in the greater Central Ohio area to like kind of like loosen the reins a little bit as far as the whole social distancing mask thing. So I would invite Columbus comics out, and we would basically just do your glorified open mic, um, aka what most Columbus book shows are. And so then once I found a good place, I found a good spot. Then I worked out a deal with like the management of like, hey, if I like start charging some tickets and like we get like a door guy, so that way, because with comedy, obviously, you want people that want to be there because you get your ambush comedy, so to speak, where it's like, hey, you probably don't know this, but we got like an open mic going on, so if you could stop talking, they didn't plan on that, but
Right,
you know,
right,
you set a principle, you set some kind of privacy, you set like a ticket price. When people pay for it, they're less likely to be disruptive and to enjoy the show. So I found a good spot for that, and I worked out a deal with management, um, and then started selling tickets. First show sold out like a week ahead of time. Nowadays, if a show does well, I'm getting ticket sales like the day before. Like my one I got back in December. I mean, it was like pretty low numbers until the day of, and then I did my whole "Hey, you procrastinators, today's the day," and then all of a sudden the tickets just flooded in. So that's just how it is nowadays. People have that FOMO, that fear of missing out, and yeah, and it's just one of those. Every time they come to the show, I'm like, hey, you shouldn't have waited till the last second. This is what you should be afraid of missing out on. Are these shows?
or your shows like the talk of the town? Because like Newark, I mean, like there's not too many comedy shows or comedians coming to Newark, so like I would think that it would be like, or your shows like the talk of the town.
It's the whisper of the town, yeah. Uh, yeah, I would say depending on what aisle of the Kroger you're in, you might hear some
No.
talk, but yeah, no, they do tend to draw a pretty good crowd, and I have a couple of like really steady fans that come to almost every show. But yeah, here lately, thankfully, I've been having a lot more people that haven't been to one before. So the word has gotten out, and they're trying these shows. So which is what you want in comedy, because you're never going to get anywhere just playing to the same people, to the same bars. Like you gotta get that circle out there. So glad that
Yeah.
that circle's already expanding through the whole city, and then just trying to get out of the county, and then out of the state, and then out of the country. And then I want to be the first comedian on the moon. I want to be the first comic to do stand up on the moon. No, it would
How
be out of this world. Jokes like that is why some people have stopped coming to my shows.
You done lost your damn mind. When you get your damn mind, you call me.
So when oh, the one question I had was like, how has the scene grown? Because I
Oh yeah,
remember
yeah,
like
yeah.
after you just mentioned like after COVID you was doing open mics. How has the scene grown?
So actually, this year specifically, I started doing an every other Wednesday like writing workshop. The idea is I want to get people in Newark to like learn how to like write their good type fives, get some good storytelling, to the point where they can be doing 5, 10, 15 minute long sets. Because like as much as I do love a lot of the Columbus comics I've crossed paths with, I would love to see the day where I only have to bring in like one or two at most, and not 4 or 5.
Mhm.
I'd love to be able to have the more sufficient scene. And so far, I have a pretty steady 4 that are like they've gotten really good in the last couple weeks. Some of them are already up to like 10, 15 minutes. It's like pretty solid. And we've been doing this since like I think early June. So even just half a year, and already like they have pretty passable 5 to 10 minutes. So I consider that a win. No, actually 3 of them have been on like booked shows in Newark that I've done the last year, and all of them did really well. One show, all of them did better than me, so that's a very proud teacher moment. That's also a big hey fuck you Newark, like
Yeah.
kind of thing. But no,
I re-
I was happy to see it.
I really thought you were gonna say like when Columbus Comics write more jokes. That's what I really thought you were gonna
Oh, that would never happen.
say. I was like, wow, bro, dang,
Yeah,
what
you
we
can't
do?
you can't get out of that tight 5 that's been working since 2017. No, sir. No, no.
I love how has so like, but no, I think it's really dope that you are from Newark, and I think it's dope that you grow your own scene, but I also think it's dope that you make the commitment to come to Columbus. I know it's not that far, but like you and like Tony Watson, like he'd be driving from Toledo just to hit an
Yeah.
open mic. Like, how has even like how has this scene have like helped you, for somebody that might be like not in an area where there's any open mics, but they may be close to somewhere? Like, was it worth the sacrifice, I guess?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's always because I mean, there's just a simple fact of going to do your craft. Like when you go to the mic, and you're working out your jokes, and coming from Newark, which is again a rather conservative, Republican city, that it's really good to get out into a more liberal market like Columbus and see, like, oh hey, these jokes don't work. I need to cater. So like right away when you have that option, whereas if you only stay in the big city, if you ever do get booked outside of the 270 or whatever uh, general metropolitan area there is, then you have that. But from the other side, where you're like, oh no, these jokes about caring about people and like belief in equality and like people's rights, some places hate that shit.
Hmm.
I'm kidding, but it's really good though to be able to get yourself into different markets from a society standpoint too. And then just get any again with comedy, any stage time is good. Like
Yeah.
that's the thing. You have to get your reps in. You have to bust out your sets, and then also then there's the networking thing too. Like that's where I'll meet some comics, and like I always try to. I've gotten pretty good lately on like seeing who actually like really cares about make getting out of just the same couple bars, like someone that takes it seriously, that wants to expand their network. People I know that are like promoting the shows, because like nothing pisses me off more than, and this is as a producer and a comic, like both sides of me is very pissed off when people don't do any promotion of the shows. Because the thing is like there's that attitude of like, oh, I don't know people in this area, so why would I promote? Well, guess what, people that might know someone in the area, and if they see that, they will comment, hey, so and so, this guy's funny, he'll be in town, check him out. Like, and it's only, it takes a minute tops if you actually like want to write out like something, but it takes 10 seconds to like share a post. Like, yeah, it's you do your part to get as many people to see you so that you can work out your stuff, because the more perspectives you have, the stronger of a comedian you'll be. Again, the more your network will be there, and it's just any chance you can make yourself better, why would you not do it? So yeah, get out there, do your thing, network, and try and stay off fast food on the drives back, because that's the thing. I do have that 45-minute
Dang,
drive,
you be getting
and
fast food.
oh yeah, there's Sheets everywhere. There's Taco Bell. There's Waffle Houses. Like that's a trap. Like that's one thing about the comic lifestyle is we're night owls by nature, And so yeah, we got to eat a lot of greasy, fatty, salty foods because that's all there is. You're not getting kombucha and like power green smoothie at 11:30 midnight. None of that. No, you're getting scattered, smothered, covered, and you're getting Doritos Locos Tacos. So
I'm definitely getting kombucha. I used to bring my little detox water. Everybody be like, "What's in there?" I'm like,
yeah,
"Bro, just things from the earth." Like,
right.
but nah, like my little snack. I don't be getting like fast food. I be getting like the only time I got fast food was like a couple months ago when I was from Cincinnati, and I went to Popeyes and I got some fries and a biscuit. But other than that,
Yeah,
I make sure I get like pop and like a chip and some chips or like donut sticks to help me with my munchies.
yeah.
That's what I be getting. I ain't never thought about the fast food. Yeah, I could see that. What time you be getting home? So like you be driving out here. Like, do you just hit like one mic or several mics? Cause
Yeah, if I do come to Columbus now that almost every night of the week does have multiple mics, like I'll especially try and go on like Thursdays because Thursdays there's what like four or five, um, so and most of them they're all either like on like the High Street area or they're all somewhere off like 71.
mhm.
So yeah, I I'll always try and go if I can hit two. That's my what makes it like more worth it to me now. And because like by day I'm out walking and it's just me and myself and my voice memos on my phone. So like I'm constantly coming up with premises or even like just straight up like writing jokes out in full form, and so I'm always churning and burning material. And so once I get like 10 minutes that I want to try out, then I hit up the open mic. I'll do 5 at one and I'll do 5 at the other. I'll take like the best minute of each of those, and then the next time I'll have that work in a few new, but that's where I start really tightening it up. So
Okay. And with hitting those open mics and tighten up the jokes, man, you went ahead and did your own thing with your special streaming on YouTube, Grown Up. How was that process, and what was like? Yeah, just how was that process? Because it's Newark, but you definitely want to get the word out, and you do it on your own. This was post COVID. So how was that process like?
yeah, so when I found like my like original spot, I was doing a monthly showcase last like Saturday of every month, and I would do 15 minutes to like start the show out, and because I owed it to like my regular audience that I felt like I needed to come up with some new stuff. I was doing at least 10 new minutes almost every month. Plus, I'd throw in, one that was already, tight and ready. And just between that and Columbus open mics, I mean, I had realized back in like, I don't know, I think it was October or November when I was like, yo, I'm going through my notes. I'm like, I have an hour of stuff that's like good and works. So then I came into some money, uh, Sugar Mamas. Thank you. No, no, I won some money, hot hands in the dice game. So then once I had that, I hit up my man Jay Cokes Media, and quoted me a pretty good, reasonable price, and set the date. Did it and sold it out as well, which that was like that was huge for me to have a sold out crowd. From I didn't want to have to like do like the Lord of the Rings thing of like CGIing people in the crowd, like fill out what was looked like 20 people, but it was 20 people that looks like 200.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, had a sold out show. Actually, I also had a lot of comics come out too, which unfortunately, comics, we do have a pretty bad reputation for kind of being a little self centered and focusing only on us. So it was really refreshing to see. I think it was like 6 or 7 comics that like made the drive out from Columbus just to support one of their own. And yeah, I had family, friends, a couple of exes that I'm still like kind of cool with. Um, And unfortunately, they were all at the after party, and I'm like, I hope they don't like start talking because I don't want them confirming what parts of the special were either like about them or not true. Bing bang. Yeah, like there's a bit where I talk about, if you can imagine this, there's a bit in the stand-up comedy special where I talk about my penis, right? And yeah, I don't want them like saying like, yeah, what when you said it was like 5 inches, like, yeah, I wish I saw 5 inches, you know.
What?
Oh yeah, by the way, I should mention this for those who don't know. It is a miracle if a white dude's dick is more than 5 inches. Like, I mean, yeah, like it's a thing. It is a white not privilege. Happy February, everyone.
Did you what how did you feel afterwards? I feel like leading up to it could be a lot of stress. How did it feel like afterwards to like finally get your art out?
Oh yeah. As soon as I walked out and I cleared the room, like again, it was the weight of the world off my shoulders. Even though like I wasn't worried about like covering like the finances of it because it had already been basically pre-funded. But still, again, it was just that whole feeling of like, hey, I've been, hitting like bars, clubs all over, not even just Ohio. We're talking like New England, Florida, Canada. Like I've had this material all over, and that it finally gets to be out there. Like, yeah, it was a huge relief. We did a little after party thing, which if you watch the whole special, stick around. I put a post credit scene in there because it worked for Marvel. So I'm like, it's going to work for the Destin cinematic universe. But at the end of it, there's myself and Jesse Pimpinella, who also a fantastic comic, and he was my opener for it. And afterwards, because he and his special Hot Mess, also available on all the same streaming services as mine, he talks about the life having like a CPAP mask because he has sleep apnea, and I also have it because that's just what happens when you eat too much fast food. You get sleep apnea. So we had the full face mask, and I was like, we should do like a beer bong, but like out of the face mask. So we go out on like a back deck of the brewery that I recorded it at. And Comedy Club. What am I talking about? Real deal comedy club. And so we're out on the back deck, and my dad he's pouring into like both masks at the same time. But unfortunately, the hoses were like 30 feet long. So like there's a solid 20 seconds you see us like having to like work the hose with like one hand and everything. And we finally get it in, and Jesse puked it immediately. Like the moment he swallowed all beer, he puked all over Evan Cackley's shoes. Almost got some on Hinterums, but yeah, it was a good time. Like I said, it was a huge party afterwards too, and it took a little bit in the editing. I mean, I think it took like 2 months because I recorded it January 20th, I think, and then it came out. I released it on my mom's birthday, March 24th, because I'm cheap, and that was my birthday gift to her.
Hey, listen, I show up on my mom's birthday. I'll be like, this all you got, boo.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to tell you. Shoot, you wanted a real one. Here you go.
Right.
Okay, so what's next for you? Like, are you planning another special, or are you just working on material so for when you go to Chicago, you can, get your foot in the door?
Yeah. No, my plans currently, I am going to aim to shoot my next special in November of next year. So, I mean, this one will take half the time. And the thing is, it's so weird. I had that, I really coasted that wave off of releasing Groan Up that like, I quickly built a solid 20 like in months after that. And like, I mean, I'm already up to a pretty good, like 35, 40 minutes. So by next November, it'll be another hour, hopefully, at the rate I go. But
why did you name it Grown Up?
I wanted it to, because it's mostly a story-based work. Like I don't have a lot of one-liners in it. So it's more my like these are the stories that made me and have gotten me to this point in my life kind of thing. So it's a coming of age tale, and I named it Groan Up because also there's a pretty obvious pun right there. Because also I do love my puns. I sprinkle in some puns. So actually, that's a good tie into the next special because there's two big things of feedback I got from Grown Up. Was number one, they said they were like, you could have been blacker, which I'm like, I agree. Like, what do you think is the first thing I think every single morning I wake up? I'm just like, I look in the mirror, I'm like brushing my teeth, I'm just like, you could be blacker. Look down at my pants, you could definitely be blacker. But then the second one was, they were like, we actually thought it would be punnier. And here's the truth. Here's the truth of the matter. I left 13 puns on the cutting room floor like the week of, out of mercy, because I didn't want to drive too many people away. So the fact that was my first, my big feedback, that's where I got the stand-up, the name for my next special, which is You Ask for This. Because I am going to start out the next special with just 10 minutes of basically hate fucking the crowd with puns. Like nonstop, like every single, like I have some like real rapid fire stuff. And that's the thing. So like my first special was mostly stories. So this one will be shorter, like at most like your basic minute and a half bit. But yeah, it's going to be a lot more quick punch one-liner stuff. I have 3 stories at the end, obviously, and one of which is about my my dad, who just very recently is cancer-free. He was diagnosed July of last year. That he just went to a doctor. They did all the rest. But yeah, it's fun. No, I'm kidding. It sucked because also he was living with me. My parents lived with me this whole summer, and of course I talked about that in the next one too. Yeah, they lived with me from early June, right before Halloween, and then they got a new house. And I mean, I was going to kick them out regardless if they didn't pay their rent. I'm like, I don't care, you out, like you got to go. So I tell the story though about like I was in the room when he got the official diagnosis, and like how ways I could like cheer them up, and address the situation. And comedy is pretty therapeutic as well. Like that, we're all a little dark and kind of messed up in a way that the way we handle trauma and tragedy and all that is sometimes we just make a joke, take the power away from it. But some people don't operate like that. Some people see that and they think that we're psychos, which maybe.
Yeah, no. You asked for this. Are you nervous that are you nervous of the reception since it's going to be like a different style? Or
Well, a wise man once said, "Go ahead and switch your style up, and if they hate, watch them hate, and watch the money pile up." So that's what I'm doing. Yeah, no, that's the thing, and I want to show people like, hey, I'm not a one-trick pony. Like, I want to show that I can do different styles. I can cover different materials. Like this one, it's going to naturally be darker. I mean, if I talk about my dad having cancer, yet it kind of has a darker vibe to the special. But it also, like again, at the beginning, it's some lighthearted stuff too. So like, I try to take them through a roller coaster of like tone, of styles itself, of lengths and all that, and yeah, but I can't remember where that question was, but styles. That's right, because I had to drop some street knowledge.
No, you're totally fine. I don't even know how I'm getting through this.
Yeah. I mean, my tequila, my shower tequila I had before this isn't kicking in yet, so we'll see.
See, I'm a lightweight, so
yeah,
I'm such a lightweight. I can get drunk off on one drink and be totally fine. And I don't. This is my first time doing an interview drunk, but it's fun though.
it is.
Through it.
Yeah, actually, pretty recently, I recorded one that we were just doing shots of tequila for 2 hours, and yeah,
Uh,
it ended up being a 2 hour episode. I had to like split it into like 1 hour, two different 1 hour segments.
I don't think
I, I,
I don't
oh,
think I want people to see me like drunk like that.
oh no, no, it was a good time. Also, I mean, I'm all right. I'm still not a lightweight, but I'm a shell of the drinker I once was. Because pre-COVID, so I was to date myself here. I was 26, like right before COVID, 26 going on 27, and I had just went through
Hey,
like
I'm older than you. How old are you?
30.
Dang, I didn't know I was older than you. I thought you were older than
Nope, it's just remember white cracks.
me.
That's all. White cracks like a motherfucker.
No, you
Uh,
just act so mature. Like,
I mean, there's in a way, yes. In a way, yes. Like no, I mean, I still I still love Pokemon. You know, I still drink Kool-Aid like it's
that's
normal.
that's your inner.
Um,
That doesn't make you immature.
but
That's
it's
your
yeah,
inner child.
inner child.
Yeah.
But no, I was gonna say when I was 26 though, I had just had like a really bad breakup. My ex and I at the time we both decided we wanted to see other women, and she succeeded, unlike me. It would have been cool if she had told me that she was seeing other women, but so anyway, I was horribly depressed after that because that was also like my first real relationship since like high school, and she had a kid too. Not my kid, not my kid. I didn't fall for that trap, but no. And the thing is, by the end of it though, like I was mostly sticking around, for the kid, because he didn't nag me when I came home. He was always supportive. He was always happy to see me. We liked the same cartoons. He was right. It was the mom though. She was one of the problem. Um, but no, after that split, I was like really depressed, and I already drank quite a bit just socially, but that's when I like really started like pounding the bottle pretty hard. I was up to like maybe like a 6 pack of beer every day. I would do roughly, I'd do roughly about the same in like mixed drinks at home, and then I would go out to bars and do either stand up or karaoke. So I mean, roughly, I was drinking by the end of the day. I was drinking maybe 8, 9 beers a day and like 8 or 9 shots every day for a year was pretty rough on me. And I went to the doctor when I was 26, and he did some blood work, and it came back, and he's like, "Hey, you have a dangerously high functioning liver," and I'm like, "So that's probably not a good thing." He had me tell him exactly what my drinking habits were, and he said, "At the rate you're going, you have a year left before your liver shuts down." At 26. So that was what we call a wake up call. And but the thing is, then COVID happened when the whole rest of the world took to the bottle. I did the opposite. I actually got sober over COVID, and I lost 60 pounds. Like, so that's the thing. I got my shit together over COVID when, everyone else didn't. Um, and then, yeah, don't worry. I put on all that weight since then. Like,
No, that
again,
was
sheets.
that was hilarious, bro. I went through a bad breakup during COVID too.
Yeah.
Weight was up and down. I ain't drink. I don't drinking cool. I just drink socially. I did buy a bottle for this one because this is my birthday month. So, well, it was my birthday month when this drops. But so that was that. But I don't really drink just because. Yeah, my dad's an alcoholic. I try not to be
Yeah.
like him, but I mean, I already smoked beforehand, but yeah, no, I didn't. I would have never thought that you went through that. I know that you uh deal with depression sometimes, but I never would have thought um like that. So that's why my reaction was that because you're a
Mhm.
very nice guy. You're a very nice guy.
Thank you.
But no, I understand how heartbreak could make you deteriorate. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. That one, like I said, I was mostly the last year we things started going downhill because she told me like she wanted to have a kid,
Mm-hmm.
and at that time I was 25, and I was like, I just started comedy basically, and I was like, no, hey, I'm pursuing my dream already. Like financially, I was hurting at the time, so I was just like, it'd be irresponsible to have a kid right now. And the problem, and like, because her sister had just had a kid, so she had baby fever, and so I was like, well, I'm gonna let you sweat this baby fever out, and then we'll come back to this. And because I basically put my dick on strike until she sweat out that fever. And then, unfortunately, that I started really drinking heavily then too, and that's when I found out, like, hey, whiskey dick is real. Because then once I was like, all right, hey, I think we can start this up again. I couldn't start it up, so that was what got me to the doctor in the first place. I was like, hey, I'm pretty freshly 26. I should not be having this
Yeah.
right now. Um,
Do you have
yeah,
a
it was
fear?
mostly alcohol related.
Do you have a fear that you miss your opportunity to have a child?
Yeah, a little bit. But I mean, it's because I'll applaud myself on this one for being responsible, making it to 30 without having a kid, which for Newark is fucking impossible. I am the 1% in Newark. Like that's all it takes to be in the top 1% in Newark is not have a kid, not be paying child support, having a job that gives you a W-2. Like that's it. That's all you had to be in the upper echelon. But no, now I'll say this. Now, honestly, I would say I'm almost ready to have a kid now. Um, but unfortunately, I got to get texts back from women to make this kid thing happen. So, and I'm not getting those.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, man, that'd be my biggest fear right now. Like I'll be like, man, I don't even know, cause it's just different out there, and
yeah,
I don't know, cause I'm 33, so I'll be like, I mean I don't think I can afford to have a kid, but I'll be like, dang, like I just be like, I just be like, dang, like, cause now it's like I'm so focused on comedy, so it's like I know I want to have a kid, but it's like, when is that gonna happen? Cause
right.
then I too want to move to Chicago, and then it's like when I get there, I don't want to start a new relationship and start something fresh where I'm doing something so totally new to me too. So it's like I don't know when it's gonna happen. Then it's like I don't want to be a 40-year-old dad with a 1-year-old, because then who am I gonna be humping on, a 26-year-old? Because I'd rather have my own family. Like, not that there's anything
Yeah,
wrong with a blended family, but that
right.
blended family shit is it's rough, and I'd rather not do that. So
Yeah,
that'd be my biggest. That's been my biggest fear lately.
yeah. As far as the blended family, again, like my dad was all right. Technically, he was like my adopted second stepdad, but he was there for me. Yeah. Now you're in Newark.
Second
Pick up.
stepdad.
Yeah. But the thing is, I mean, because my mom's first husband, aka first adopted stepdad, he died when I was 18 months. So like, I just didn't know the guy.
Okay.
So the second stepdad, my mom did the unspeakable. She brought a guy out of the friend zone, and yeah, he's been my dad ever since. So like, to think of him as something other than that, it is a little weird to me. But and
Yeah.
that's where the Pittsburgh part of my life came in because he's originally from Pittsburgh. So like they actually did a long distance thing
Oh, okay.
initially for a solid year. So it was like basically every weekend or every other weekend while they were dating, we were going to Pittsburgh. And then right around the time they got married and they settled on Newark, which wrong choice, but that's then when my grandpa in Pittsburgh, his health started declining, so it was right back on the road to Pittsburgh every other weekend. So yeah, I put in a lot of time when I was younger there, but yeah, the blended family though, so there's a chick I was hooking up with, and she had slid back into my DMs after about a year or so break, and I was like, I was about to hit it, you know. And I remember I actually called it off for some reason, and I find out like 2 weeks later she posted an ultrasound, and so I saw that I was like, oh, she was trying to trap me. She was trying to let me hit it raw and then say that that kid was mine. Ain't mine.
Man, the closest I ever got was I was doing this girl, great girl by the way, definitely my type, 300 plus. I love it.
Woo!
Judge me, I don't care.
Nope.
I might end up with someone off my 600 pound life. You check that show out. They usually got a short dude by side them that's loyal. Short dudes are very loyal, but like she got she got pregnant, but she ain't say nothing to me. So I was like, wait a minute. So I counted the months, and I was like, bro, I missed it by a month, and I was like, oh, thank you, God, because
Yeah.
like I mean, I didn't hit it raw or nothing, but still, it was a little worrisome. But and I remember she was like, I wish you could have been the baby dad. I was like, I know you wish I could have been the baby dad, but
Yeah.
I wasn't the chosen one, boo, and I'm glad I wasn't. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
'Cause I'll be like 30 something with like I don't know how old, like a 9-year-old or I don't know, something like that. And that's even though I want a kid, like I'm glad I don't have one because I always like pray like I don't want to have one until I get myself all the way together. Because I don't
Right.
want my kid to be coming to no effed up world because I'm effed up, you know.
Yeah. Like as I mentioned, like I was adopted, so like I don't know. There is this like kind of this pressure I put on myself. That's like, hey, I was already saved from a, a life I could have had, and I've seen like where my biological parents like grew up. They grew up in like this really like shitty part of Newark called Newark. No, they live in like the hood, and I was like, and I grew up in a pretty nice part of town. So like, you know, I was like, so I already had such a better life than I was supposed to have. And I was like, so I have to pay it forward. I have to keep the cycle going. So like, if for me to have a kid, I want to know that I can give them a better life than I had, and I had a pretty good life. So there's the pressure. That's what one of the reasons I started doing comedy was that I could get to a point where I could provide all the things that, and again, I had like 75% of things I wanted growing up. I was an only kid too, which should be obvious by my constant need for attention. That's why I do stand up. But you know, so like there's a high bar for me to go over, and that's one of the things that comedy will help me do someday.
Yeah, I was telling my friend I ran into the
And it
store.
gets me high class pussy, so that's also it's also very important.
I was telling my friend today at the store, I was like, yeah, I want to do it full time so I can just have my freedom of time. Like,
Yeah.
I would love to watch my kids grow up. I was thinking about that. Like, we don't really get to watch our kids grow up because they go to school and then we come home, we cook, and well, how much time do we actually spend? So that's what I really want to do, get my freedom of time. That's really important to me. But as we start to uh wrap this interview up here, Destin.
Yes.
Tell me who is on your Mount Rushmore for comedy.
My Mount Rushmore for comedy. So my goat will always be Eddie Murphy. Watching Raw, that's what like told me at 13. I'm like, hey, I want to be a comic. Was watching Eddie Murphy in his bad leather suit, and then also my personal favorite is Doug Stanhope. I love how the guy just every ounce of him exudes this whole I don't care about fame. I'm just saying what I want to say kind of thing. I have a dark sense of humor, and he's even I will like say like the guy's almost too dark for me at times. So that's when you know it's good. Um, and then Chappelle, because also I grew up on Chappelle's show. That was my stay up late at night, um, and you know catch Chappelle's show. And then now as far as my number four, I think I gotta go Robin Williams, pay my respects to him too, because he's one of the more successful like comic actors. He's also great at stand up too, and like great at improv. I mean, the fact that he was just riffing off and ad libbing a lot of the lines in his movies. But I at some point I want to get into doing TV and movie as well, and a large part of it was due to Robin. So
I can feel that. I can feel that. What's your real quick? What's your favorite Robin Williams movie?
favorite Robin Williams movie. I do love Good Morning Vietnam. Once again, that's another. All of his radio bits was like proven that like, hey, like this was just we told Robin, hey, start and we'll stop you when we need to. Like everything was just right off the dome. It's like I have so much respect for that. Then also, you know what? Yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll stick with that one. Good Morning Vietnam, probably.
Destin, what is a piece of advice you could give to any comedian that's listening to this right now?
Well, I already kind of sort of covered it, but it's if you ever get on a show, promote it, promote everything, network. Also, the classic, don't be afraid to bomb. It happens to everybody. So I've been told. It's never happened to me. I'm fucking king, No, it happens. I don't bomb much, but when I do, I bomb so aggressively. And the trick is just, learn from that bomb, right? Like, if you pass it up, then you've wasted it. There's something to take away from it. Also, yeah, just write a premise every day. Like you don't have to write out a full-fledged joke. Just like jot an idea every day, just one, and test them out. Get on stage, and before you know it, you'll have a stand-up special like Groan Up, which is available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, Tidal, which technically makes me part of Rock Nation, Chicken Man. It's the Rock. No, and then yeah. So put in the time, promote your shit, and have fun doing it. Don't ever forget why you wanted to start.
Tell people why they should listen to Comedians in Bed.
Well, because you have the rich, luscious tones of one of the sexiest short kings in Columbus comedy right now, Mr. Ty Erskine. And he has a genuine curiosity about what makes people tick. He's also a great comic in his own right. And yeah, check out Comedians in Bed. He gets great people too. It took him entirely too long to get the King of Newark on here. I will say that there was a lot of fucking peasants that he put on before he put on the King, but freaking people with Netflix specials.
That's to tell people where they can find you at, man.
So I have to update it. I had a website, DestinRichardson.com. I'll get it working by then. Also, Instagram at the real Destin Richardson. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have a bunch of videos. I put my podcast videos on there as well. Also, check out my podcast, the Destin Nation podcast. Two words on Destination. I have great conversations with comedians there. I especially recommend the episode with Mr. Ty Erskine. And yeah, hit me up on Facebook. If you're a single woman, ages 18 to 59, send me nudes at 740-975-5933. Hit me up on Snapchat. I prefer ass shots over tits. I love some tits, but I'm an ass man. So let's see what else. Yeah, I think that's about it.
If you like this episode, man, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. We go live every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Or you can subscribe. Or we're available wherever you listen to podcasts. If you want weekly clips, we post those on IG at Comedians in Bed Podcast. We'd like to thank you for joining this week. We'd like to thank my man, Destin. And we'll see you guys next week. And first of all, Destin puts on amazing show. So check out his shows, even if you're in Newark or if you're in the surrounding Newark area. Make sure you check out this guy's show. He put out great sellout shows. Great sellout shows. See you guys next week.
Thanks again.